Alrighty, so this is a 60-minute restorative class. If you don't have any props or don't want to use any props, the class that I planned does not necessarily need them. Some suggestions I have so that you can feel comfortable in each pose and just kind of reassess how you're feeling in the moment. Have things handy and nearby are a bolster or a pillow or a couch cushion. Another suggested prop I have is a blanket. It doesn't matter what blanket, probably something thicker than this. This is a child's blanket with dinosaurs on it. But you might use a thicker blanket, and that's just again for comfort if you're in a pose and you feel a little chilly. 2 blocks. And then last but not least, for when you're in Shavasana or some other poses perhaps as well, an eye pillow. These are all just suggestions. Every pose that we're going to be in that pose for 2 minutes or 4 minutes. And no need for you to keep track, but just as an FYI, and I'm going to use a little timer. Okay, we're going to get started in a comfortable seat. You might sit cross-legged with your right leg in front of your left, but you don't have to. We're not going to be here long. Find a comfortable seat. Suggestion to close the eyes or to gaze at the floor in front of you softly. Your hands might be on your legs, or rested at the sides. One hand on heart, one hand on belly, or anywhere else that you'd like. Getting your practice here, bringing your focus to your breath, taking big inhales to the nose. Full exhales through the mouth. We'll be here for 3 more breaths, feeling the rise and fall of the chest and belly. Welcome to keep your eyes closed. You're welcome to flutter your eyes open. You might like to switch the leg, bring the left leg in front. And you're just going to let your right ear start to fall toward your right shoulder, taking a little neck stretch here. Breathing into the left side of the neck. Option to crawl those left fingertips out to the left. Option to start to lift the left fingertip. Option to lift the left palm toward the sky, reach the fingertips further away from you. Reminder to check in and notice how you are feeling, intensifying as you bringing it back. Slowly start to lower that left hand if it's lifted. And gently start to lift the crown of the head toward the sky. And let the left ear fall toward the left shoulder. Breathe into the right side of the neck. You might start to crawl the right fingertips out to the right. This side might feel much different from the other side. Just noticing that and honoring that. Using your breath to lower the hand, crawl it in toward the body. Lift part of the head. Let the hands come to the lap if they aren't already there. And start to tuck the chin and round the spine. Fold in the knees. Use an inhale to bring the hands to the hips and to lift the chin, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Let's do that 2 more times. Your pace, your breath. Bring yourself back to center, find a neutral spine. And then we're gonna come to lying on our backs. So very slowly, very carefully. Extending the legs out long in front of you. And resting on your back. And taking the time to get out any fidgets here, lifting any limbs and lowering them back down. Letting the feet fall away from each other. Letting the palms lift toward the sky. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Soften the face. Soften the breath. Staying here in this Shavasana corpse pose for 3 more breaths. When you feel ready, bring your arms high over your head. Zipper your legs together, find a full body stretch. Take an inhale, grow nice and tall, nice and long. And then exhale to soften. You're gonna find banana pose. Bring the arms high above the head once more. Keep the hips planted, keep the sit bones planted, and crawl the legs over to the right. Option to cross one ankle over the other, it doesn't matter which one. Maybe try both and see which resonates more with you. And then keep the shoulders planted where they are and crawl the arms over to the right as well, finding a banana shape. Option to grip one wrist with the other hand. It doesn't matter which one. Maybe try both. See which one feels better for you. Actively pressing into that left sit bone, that left hip. Actively pressing into that left shoulder. Sending the breath into the left side body. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Feel free to play around with whether the back of your head is on the mat, or whether one ear is rested on the mat. Pressing into the left hip, pressing into the left shoulder. Take 3 more breaths into the left side body. Slowly release the grip of the wrist if you have one. Bring the arms back to center, and the back of the head back to center. Carefully release the ankles. Crawl the legs back to center. When you feel ready, other side, bring the legs over to the left. You might cross one ankle over the other. Bring the arms over to the left. You might grip one wrist with the other hand. Sinking into the right shoulder and the right hip. Find lots of length on the right side body. Be here for 3 more breaths. Carefully bring everything back to center. Take your time. Option to grow long and tall one last time with an inhale. Soften with an exhale. Bring your knees into your chest. Place your hands onto your knees. Roll your lower back in circles. Suggestion for the circles to be big and slow. Giving the lower back and the hips and the glutes a little massage here. Might feel nice to change the direction of the circles. Our next pose is going to be Supta Baddha Konasana. You know that you are not going to place a bolster underneath your back. You're just going to be lying on your mat. You're welcome to go right into Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring your feet together and your knees out wide. Play around with how close your feet are to your body. Suggestion to place 2 blocks under your knees, 1 block under either knee. The knees can really fall toward the floor and not have to do any work. If you think that you would like to place a bolster underneath you, carefully roll over onto one side, press yourself up into a seat. Bring your bolster to the back of your mat, lengthwise. Bring it as close to your lower back as possible, nice and snug. And then set up your feet and your knees, your blocks. And then carefully lower onto your bolster. Feel like you need a little head support once you're there. Maybe you take your blanket and use it as a pillow. Arms might rest long at the sides, palms up. Or perhaps one hand on heart, one hand on belly. We'll be here for 4 minutes. Something doesn't feel quite right, please take the time and the energy to adjust it. Bring yourself to the most restorative version of this pose that you can find. We'll take 3 last breaths here into the Baddha. Slowly coming out of the pose. Bring the hands on either side of the legs. Bring the knees together. Move the blocks to one side out of the way. If you're lying on a bolster, carefully roll over onto one side and bring yourself upright. Move the bolster out of the way. If you're lying on your back, you're welcome to just stay lying on your back and extend your legs out long. Our next pose is going to be supine twist. Suggestion to use the bolster or a pillow or a block. We'll come to lying on our backs if we aren't already there. Keep your left leg long out in front of you. Roll over onto your left side body. Bend your right knee. And then bring your bolster or your pillow or a block close into the body. And then rest that bent right knee on that cushion. And then adjust the shoulders and the back so that you're lying flat on your back as best you can. Bring your arms out into a T or cactus. Take plenty of time here to adjust. Placing either ear on the mat, or perhaps keeping the back of the head on the mat. We'll be here for 4 minutes. Take 3 last breaths here. Next pose will be half frog. Bring the back of your head to the mat if it isn't already there. Lifting your right knee to release that pillow or bolster. Get it out of the way. Keeping everything as it is, simply come to lying on the top of your left leg. So you'll roll over onto your belly with your right knee still bent. You'll gaze back to make sure that your right knee is in line with your right hip as best you can. That your right calf is parallel to your left leg. And flex your right toes. Then you might bend your elbows, place your forearms in front of you, place one hand on top of the other, and then rest the forehead on top of the hands. Or you might bring the arms out to the sides, in whatever configuration you'd like, and then bring one cheek to the mat. Just like with every other pose, take time to adjust whatever you need to adjust. You might be on the top of the left foot. You might see if you can come onto the inside of the left foot, reaching the left toes out to the left. Be kind of awkward and funky. If you try it and it's painful, then just very carefully come back to the top of the foot. We're here for 3 more minutes for a total of 4 minutes. Take 3 more big belly breaths. Move into a shoulder stretch. Bringing your left arm long out to the side if it isn't already there. Bringing your left ear to the mat. Put your right hand below your right shoulder. And slowly start to press into your right hand, rolling over onto your left side body. Keeping the right knee bent. You can plant the right foot in front of the left leg or behind the left leg. If you'd like to intensify, you can extend the right arm high toward the sky. Or maybe even reach the right arm back behind you and interlace the fingers with the left. Be very gentle with yourself. Take it very slowly. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Allowing the breath to assist you. Where can you soften? Where can you let go? Take 3 more breaths. If the fingers are interlaced, carefully release that. Extend the right arm toward the sky, and then plant the right hand below the shoulder. Carefully come to lying on your belly. Bringing the legs long back behind you. Then we're just going to stay here lying on our belly for a moment. Maybe bending elbows, coming onto forearms. Stacking hands, resting forehead on hands. Maybe big toes touch and heels fall away from each other. That's our sequence. We're going to do that same thing in reverse on the other side. Take a big belly breath. Let it go. Bring your right arm long out to the right. Plant your left hand below your left shoulder. Roll onto the right side body. Bend the left knee and plant the left foot either in front of the right leg or behind it. Rest onto the right ear. Checking in and noticing the difference between the two sides. Reminding yourself that they probably won't feel the same, that they do not have to look the same. Here for 2 minutes. Take 3 last breaths here. Carefully and slowly bring your left hand below your shoulder if it isn't already there. Roll onto the top of the right leg and onto the belly. Find half frog, the left knee bent, the left knee in line with the left hip, with the left calf parallel to the right leg, with the left foot flexed away from you. With the arms wherever feel most comfortable to you. You might like to try coming onto the inner edge of the right foot, sending the foot away. You might feel a stretch on the outside of the right hip. Or you might stay on the top of the right foot. We're here for 3 more minutes for a total of 4. 3 last breaths. Next pose is going to be supine twist. A little bit of a funky transition, so pay attention. If this doesn't resonate with you, come to that pose however makes sense to you. You're going to plant your left hand and just simply press into it. Bring your right arm long underneath your left hand. And then roll on to your back. Keeping the left knee bent to the right. Bringing the arms out to a T or cactus. Suggestion to place a prop under that left knee. So if it's nowhere near, I apologize. Suggestion to step into that. Bring that prop close into the body and rest the left knee. Just so there's no effort there. Sinking into the left shoulder, letting it feel soft on the mat. Moving the crease from the forehead here. Removing the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Lightly parting the lips. Three last breaths. We'll find Supta Baddha Konasana once more. Carefully remove the bolster from underneath the left knee. Come to lying on your back, adjust your hips, adjust your upper back. If you're not going to use a bolster underneath your back, bring your feet together, your knees wide. And just take the time to set up here, and maybe it looks and feels much different than it 40 minutes ago. Maybe you use blocks underneath the knees, maybe you don't. Maybe the feet are much closer to you or much further away. Maybe you're using a bolster underneath you. Maybe you're using a blanket as a pillow. Maybe you're using an eye pillow. You are super cozy. You would like this to be your final resting pose. Stay here. Supta Baddha Konasana. Take some time to adjust whatever you would like to adjust. You would prefer a more traditional final resting pose. Shavasana corpse pose. Carefully bring yourself out of Supta Baddha Konasana, removing any props. Come to lying on your back. Perhaps bringing your knees into your chest and placing your hands onto your knees and rolling your lower back in circles for as long as feels good to you. Perhaps finding a full body stretch, bringing the legs long in front of you and zippering them together. Bringing the arms high above you, inhaling to grow tall, and exhaling to lift. If you'd like, you can find one last banana pose rather. Taking a couple of breaths. Crawling the legs and the arms over to the other side. And taking a couple of breaths. Bringing yourself back to center. Getting out any last movements. If you're in that corpse pose, letting the feet fall away from each other. Lifting the palms toward the sky. Regardless of what your final resting pose looks like, allowing yourself to let go here. Soften the breath. Relax the body. Calm the mind. Please feel free to stay here in your final resting pose as long as you'd like. You can close out our practice together and you can stay there. If you would prefer to meet me in a seat, gently roll over onto one side and find a fetal position. Carefully press yourself up into a seat. Any seat that feels comfortable to you. Placing your hands anywhere that you would like. Suggestion to take a moment here and thank yourself for your practice. I appreciate you sharing your practice with me and allowing me to share my practice with you and helping Woodlawn Yoga community exist. Thank you.